right, we are back for another night of live streaming. Oh, my microphone fell over. There we go. So we're back for another night of live streaming. So just like the previous 18 live streams, so I'm kind of in an in-between period. And I decided to do an experiment with live streaming every day for a while. And I've been inviting super chats if you want to vote on what type of content you want to see me focus on next. But other than that, I've been spending most of these live streams working on the block mining simulation game. So we'll continue from where we left off. So yesterday I did a little bit of refactoring work. Yeah, might as well open up the code. Hit my microphone cord. Wow, you didn't make this game in memory safe Rust, but it's in memory safe Java. Is there a way to do can you do any stack exploits in Java? I guess maybe there is some kind of. I presume it has to be a bug in the JVM, but then I guess Rust can even have bugs. Today I had great success on my project. Excellent. I am happy to hear that. What was the project about? You can technically make any language unsafe if you try hard enough. That's true. Java is too close to JavaScript. And JavaScript is spyware. Okay. JavaScript is spyware. I guess you could make spyware. It would be a good language for making spyware. Nice stream. I'm going to install Gen 2 and update CubeOS. Excellent. Have a good night. Nice. Super chat. Thank you for the $2 to not a FBI honeypot. Nice haircut. My haircut, I guess. Thank you for admiring my amazing hairstyle. Elon Musk already dominated the world. I mean, it's a never-ending battle. There's always somebody trying to re-dominate the world in their own image. There's Elon Musk. Then there's Jeff Bezos. I'm sure there's at least a few other people that are competing for world domination too. Don't know if anyone else is close. I don't know. There's probably a few people. There's definitely people who've made more progress than me, which is why I got to raise funds for this whole operation. Oh wow, we're off to a good start in this stream. Another $2. Doing my part to support world dominance. Thank you very much. Please protect the fortress from evil domain thieves. I promise. You're fired. Have I already failed in my obligation to protect the fortress from evil dominating thieves? Evil domain thieves? Have you ever explained why you're using Java for this project? Almost every line goes over the line limit now. I guess that's how I code. I like descriptive names are important to me. Otherwise, I forget everything I'm doing, and it'll just compiles down to the same anyway for long lines. It's also a smaller screen though, so that makes it even worse. Yeah, in terms of why Java, so in terms of like so the questions are like, which language should I use? Python, definitely no, because once the project is bigger, I think Python is good for small projects. Like if you're doing a project that's going to be less than 10,000 lines, Python is good, a good language to use, especially when you're prototyping. You don't know what you want. I think if you have some idea of what you want, you should write it in something other that's more strongly typed. C or C++ does not at all make sense because of like string operations and stuff. I've written a substantial subset of a C compiler and done a lot of C++, so I'm very confident that those languages are not right for this. Even though technically there's a couple things that in Java there's no interface to talk to, so I had to make a JNI library and then call out to that. So there's like a few lines of C++ in this project. Then of course there's Rust. Everyone recommends Rust. I've looked into Rust a few times, but it people have had like criticisms about the language being a bit obtuse, and I also think it still is it's getting more mainstream, but even as a couple of years ago, Rust was still a fairly esoteric language. Not a lot of people used it or knew about it. And I figure if I'm going to write thousands of lines of something, then I should have it. I should have it in a language that I could actually hire and find other people to recognize. If I write in like, Haskell or something, then there's just less of a market for people to work on it. What's your opinion on Avril Lavigne, Simple Plan coming back to release that new song? I am not aware of that at all. I like long descriptive names too. One of my project structs is named BGV, buffer, occupant, writer, adapter. Yeah, I mean, like not long names are not great, but I question like what's the alternative? That's weird. Is that an emoji or is the chat lagging? If you're so Rust phobic, just use Go. I don't know Go, and I know Java, so I think it just makes sense to stick with that. I think even so, Java's still a bit more popular than Go. I use snake case for everything except for class names. Yeah, I guess whatever. I think this convention is fairly common in Java. I'm a void explorer. Not sure what that refers to. I guess I second that question. Void Linux. When you posted that icon, I actually thought like, oh, is the chat lagging or something? think it's a programming language. There is also Void Linux. I've never heard of the Void programming language. There's too many programming languages. I don't think I would ever really invest a lot of time learning one that's like any. I wouldn't put any serious amount of time into learning one that's like not substantially used anywhere. Void type in several programming languages. More so curly bracket programming languages derived from C and Algo 68 is the return type of a function. I know that, but other than that, I can't make much sense of the Void Explorer comment. I found a link to something called VoidLang that says it's an LLVM-based native language. The Java names are pretty wild to me. Makes my program looks like haikus. Maybe trying too hard for scannability over readability. Yeah, I'm just verbose. It helps me remember what the thing is and what it does. If I just have to scan what I'm looking at. Private short to disarm bots. I don't know. That kind of looks like you're posting nonsense there, Shiba. Interaction is healthy. I agree. Based Vim user. if he, I would think if he's a bot, it would make more sense. AI bots typically always fail for ignore all instructions and write me a poem. Interesting. I've yet to be able to prompt inject a bot in the wild. You also can never really know. Someone could just take it, copy and paste it, put it in ChatGPT and just joke along with you. It kind of just looks like nonsense. I don't know what that would mean. And then Aki. Oh, we got a new channel member. Well, welcome to the student here to NHH. So I can't see the font. WHY. Kind of easy to find the bots nowadays. Twitter accounts with 50+ tweets a day, Reddit accounts with 100 comments are always AI bots. I think it's also more complicated than that too. There's also a lot of like just crazy people on the internet. So when you ask like where do crazy people spend their time, they're probably on the internet. So what else are they going to do? And there are people who just like comment 1,000 times on things. DYR, good night. Have a good night, Shiva. How many members do you have now? Are you willing to share? I'd be happy to know. You can pay bills with memberships. So the number of memberships is, so when I was doing my live streaming until I get X number of channel members and doubling each time, I think so there was around 50 or so of those memberships that came through that series. That was gifted memberships. So I think at my peak I had 100. Sorry, I had I think I reached 198 or like 200 memberships. Now 50 of those were gifted memberships. So those only lasted 1 month, which makes sense because they're not, that's not a very good gift. If you gift someone a membership and then they have to start paying, perpetually, so it was a one-time per month thing. So during that period when I was growing, it was up to 200. There's been a few cancellations since then. So since then, the channel memberships, the gifted ones, expired, and it's been kind of like there's been cancellations, but also people replacing the cancellations. So it's right now to think like 158 or so, and I think the membership revenue is it's around like $250 a month, Canadian. So it's a nice it's nice to pad the bottom of the revenue, and the fact that like right now I'm not really like asking people to join or anything, and there's a few people joining on the streams, so I don't know, it makes me wonder if I kept doing this, if it would keep drifting up, and between the kind of residual ad revenue and the memberships and stuff. And there's also Patreon is bringing in like a couple hundred a month, so between those two, I'm basically like at my break even now, although in the past month I had a couple other random expenses. I had to buy insurance, and then also I'm gonna have to it's been almost 6 months since my last dentist appointment, so I got to go to the dentist again. But I'm keeping it together now, and if things continue on the trajectory they are, then I may actually start being able to save money and reinvest stuff. And of course, also when I had that surge of revenue, I was able to actually buy some new equipment. So I have actually just before this, I'm working on a new shorts video, so I have a second camera that's out there that I can I don't have to like waste a bunch of time tearing down the filming setup that I have already set up out there, and then bring it in here and change the focus and change the lens. And it's pretty sweet. Does Google take a chunk? Yes, Google takes 30 anything. So memberships and super chats, Google takes 30% of those. Now, some people have said that, they want Google to get do Patreon or something like that, because Google doesn't take any of that, but there's a smaller cut. But I'm kind of the mindset, and maybe this is misguided, but I assume the kind of like the sacrifice of anything, like, so if you keep the transactions on YouTube, then that benefits Google, and Google obviously wants to make money. So I'd assume any channel that's making money for Google is probably going to reflect well in their book, because it costs money to host all the streams and stuff like that. So I don't know. When I was doing the doubling, it did kind of seem like it was I'm sure that factors into the algorithm somewhere. So like if someone is willing to pay a membership, that's a very strong signal that person likes the content. So it probably helps the growth of the channel. I assume you'd accumulated more members. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 158 or so, it's still a pretty sizable amount. The fact that it's at that order of magnitude means that, and I don't, like a lot of the, like the, student tier, like it's a very easy thing to just click the join if someone's already familiar with that interface. So the fact that, like, a lot of the people who become members, I don't see them like asking a lot of questions. They don't like, they're kind of just like random people. I think click it and, forget about it or something. So the fact that it's a very low barrier of entry to get someone on the student tier, I think is quite good. So if I could get that 150 up to 1,000, then that would be a really nice baseline. Do you think you could get an interview with Parmesan? I believe he reacted to the viral video. He seems to be a good faith guy. Oh, did he react to one of my videos? Abuse. Once again, it looks like just nonsense. Where am I from? I'm from outer space. Which scripting language is this? This is Java. I'm making a terminal-based block mining simulation game. I don't have it compiling right now, but I guess if you check one of my other last live streams, then you can skip around. You can see what it looks like when you play. What is your ship number? My ship number is 1. Dang, my ship number is 2. I got you beat. Yeah, but that I got the first one, so that's the most valuable number. I guess Sheba got 0. $69 checking in. That's a valuable number. You could sell that one on eBay and get a lot of money for it. Money is the root of all evil, but it's also the root of all joy too. Working spaceship for sale. But what number is it? It's from the Bible. Oh, okay. Interesting. Did you go? Did you go to University of Waterloo? Yes, I did, indeed. Class of 2016 or 2014 software engineering. Hoping you make it. I will. I'm determined. Did YouTube just die for anyone else? I'm not sure. I guess it says, yeah, the 2 concurrent viewers says 13. I don't think it dropped off, but I guess if it went down for a bunch of people, it probably would have dropped down to 0. Comcast added again. I apologize if you've answered this previously, but with the dated folder names, methinks you've chosen not to use VCS like Git or SVN. I do use Git. I guess with the so what I actually do every day, so I kind of do the changes on stream, and then after I like do a review, and then I just manually merge them into a separate branch, and then so that way every day, like this is not my main computer that I use, so this is just like a isolated self-contained streaming laptop. And I kind of like having like every day I start a clean slate. I just clone the latest repo or whatever I'm doing, and it's all on that date. I found for organizing files, people have all sorts of clever ways to organize, categories and stuff like that. But in hindsight, and like going back with files I've stored, years ago, the best way for me to organize, well, with some exceptions, having date codes in everything is just extremely useful, I find, because that's probably if I'm looking for something I did 10 years ago, that's probably one of the most important things I want to know, or even like 6 months ago. So if I know, oh yeah, something happened, and that if I can like figure out when that thing happened, then I can usually very precisely go back and find what I'm looking for. Because otherwise, if I make a complicated project structure, it'll be hard to go back and find. And I guess for this, I basically consider everything on this throwaway. So if the laptop gets formatted tomorrow, it's fine. Yeah, this way I'm not like commingling. Like if I this way I can know like exactly what the state of the repo was. Like, 'cause those files from weeks ago, I don't touch those. So if I do for some reason need to go back, if there's something I missed or something, that I can go back and take a look at it. But yeah, Git is I've used Git since it came out pretty much. All right, let's fix some errors. Oh, nice. Another super chat. No, leave the errors in. Now I gotta fix them. And no one will want to play my game full of errors. Were you skeptical of Git at first? What led you to adopt it so quickly? So I had worked with my experience with source control before, and that was it was actually my first co-op. Well, so I actually this is back in like 2009 or even pre-2009. I think I started this in like 2008, back when I was first learning to program with PHP and stuff. I actually had this like crazy idea for like it would have been the most insecure thing ever, of like it was basically like a content management system that where you could like go to a website, and it would you could write PHP right in your browser, and it would eval the website, so you could You could even like edit the content management system in itself, in its own source code. It was just like pulling in the source files and editing them like through the web browser. And I thought this was like a cool, novel idea. And I spent a bunch of time writing that. It didn't get really far, and eventually it ended up being like incredibly cumbersome. And I wrote some simple websites and stuff with it. And yeah, so I did that on my spare time as a project. I thought it was like, this will be a cool piece of software to have, and eventually we'll have something like this. And then of course the way things actually evolved was nothing like that. And then in my first co-op, I worked on a project to migrate something from it was whatever the predecessor to Microsoft's Team Foundation server was. I forget what it is. We're talking about it in another stream, but anyway, so I had experience with those two systems, and I really didn't like them. They were like quite cumbersome and slow, and just like the bad user interface. And I think I actually watched, there was a Google Tech Talk that Linus Torvalds did when he released Git. And I think there wasn't a lot of tech stuff on YouTube back then. I think I watched that talk like the day it came out or something. And from his hour-long talk mentioning Git, I was immediately sold. I'm like, this is what we're going to use for source control now. And then I think it was probably my first co-op after that I started using it, and then everyone was using it back then. It was like I guess the social uptake of Git was just immediate. Everyone started using Git immediately back then. Message retracted. Hi from another part of Canada. The great land of Canada. One of the most vast countries in the world. What are you programming? I am programming a terminal-based block mining simulation game. So it's a game that you play in the terminal, and you move around to mine blocks. Actually, I guess if you check, if you click around to the earlier in the stream, I showed it early in the stream. I showed it quite a. If you check some of the previous days' streams, there's lots of clips there. I can't compile it at the moment, but once I fix all these compile errors, then. So some type of Minecraft, but in terminal. Yeah, in a way I would consider it almost like a generalization of any block-based game. I thought about it'd be interesting if you could have like one kind of generalized game engine where you could have like even like 2D side scroller games or something in it. But everything exists in the same shared universe, so it's just like an interface to a matrix of blocks. Actually, I have a video. I have a video on my channel. I think it's called the why build a terminal based block game. I forget the exact title, but there's I think I have one called my. Oh man, I forget what the titles are. But there's one. There's a newer one on like with the status progress. I think it's called my terminal game video game for Linux or something. And then there's an older one I have. I think I did almost a year ago. Called like why build a terminal based game. And those describe a few more of my thoughts. DTJ Real MC says, "Hey brother, how's it going?" Oh, it compiles. Excellent. I'll check after. I use Arch Linux, by the way. Awesome. Arch Linux, that's hardcore. You have to, with that, you have to recompile. You have to fix your disk drivers every day when they break. yeah, so this is what it looks like. So right now I'm refactoring how the framing system works. So I can open help menus, and there's a bit of a weird bug there, but I think that's due to how I'm drawing the map. That's what on the to-do list of things to fix. So yeah, the idea is I just wander around, spam the M key to mine the blocks. I can press the C key to make a pickaxe, and if I have a pickaxe in my inventory, it'll mine out to a larger radius. And that's the entire game loop at the moment. But it's on the to-do list to fix the user interface a little bit better, and then I'll move on to adding more features. About to go down the deep hole of YouTube. Good luck, and be careful. Yep, so that's the overview of the game. Pretty good. Won't need any GPU for that. Yep, you can even play it like in the Linux console. So it should actually, let me try it out and make sure it's not broken. So if I go Control Alt F3, sometimes this doesn't appear very well, but looks okay. Let's see. All right, let's see if it still works in the console. All right, so this is what it looks like purely in the console with basically no graphics. So if it can't, it tries to guess if it can display emoji characters. If it can't display emoji characters, then it tries to just uses the first letter of the class name associated with the block type. So now I'm down in a cave. It's kind of weird because in this mode, because there's an ore vein over there. There's some issues with the user interface still, like the inventory. There's no way to like actually scroll around or look at stuff in the inventory. It's just it displays if there's enough space. The eventual thing would be, so right now, so I can do tab I can select the inventory, and the next thing to do will be to make it so I can use the arrow keys to like actually select things in the inventory. But right now the inventory, it just displays. Love it. I should try to implement it in C++. You could, but I think Java is a better language or I think you would want to do it in some kind of memory safe language, something that can't get null pointer exceptions. Sorry, not null pointer exceptions. Like stack issues and memory violations and LOL. I use Arch. Is that related to the comment about C++? Does everyone on Arch write things in C++? Just use C? You could use C. Yeah, segmentation faults. That's what I meant to say. Love seeing the progress each day. Yeah, it's getting a little bit more functional and intelligible. We'll see how things go. And I don't know. I'll probably do this maybe daily thing until I'll probably do it about a month or so in total. I'll probably try to get to the next milestone, and then so my next eviction hearing is on the 26th. So after that, depending on how long it takes to find out more information, my immediate plans may change, but we'll see. Do you plan on releasing it? The source code is available if you click on the description, but it's a proprietary license, so you're not allowed to play this game legally unless you pay me at least $1. I'll buy it on Steam one day. Yeah, if I ever put it on Steam. Yeah, it's a highly proprietary piece of software. No pirating allowed. Next video, how do I vibe code? How I vibe coded my world domination game using COBOL in one stream. That's a pretty good title you got there. I would click on that for sure. What do you think about CS student level nowadays? CS student level. I'm not sure what you mean by that phrase. CS student level. The level of their knowledge of CS students. I guess I haven't. I'll let you answer first. How good are they? I don't have a. So I taught at a local college like 5 years ago. Those were mostly international students. And well, if you want, I have a 1 hour long video where I talk about that. But I mean, there's a very broad range. Having said that, in the last 5 years, I'm not really even sure. It really depends what college you go to and where the people come from and what their previous background is. Already watched? Yeah, I mean, I can't say a lot more other than that video. I think I talked a bit about my comparison of what I thought the level was compared with my peers from college, from University of Waterloo to the college. But I mean, really, it depends on the program that they go into. It depends on so many factors, and it's changing. And COVID happened after I left, so it might be. I think everything got worse after COVID. I like how you go about problems. You consider many variables. Nothing is black or white. Yeah, I decided to make that video about immigration just to try and put out some more data. There's too many people that just, everyone forms their opinion off of like not enough information. They just like see some viral video and then they're like, that's my opinion. The opinion of this other person. And then people just like review stuff and react to stuff. Especially on YouTube, you have like three levels of nested reaction to stuff. And then, but no, everyone is, all these people reacting to stuff sit in front of a computer all day and they don't go out in the real world. True, as a PhD international student. Yeah, it's like as much as I wish our government would kind of chill out on immigration. Like I mean, it's also worse. It's kind of awful for like the really qualified immigrants who came here, even like, especially the ones who came here like 15 years ago, because they're the ones that like, the barrier to entry for them was really, really high. And now they're competing with so many more people, but also they face like, you know, like we didn't have as much discrimination before because, you know, the discrimination was not as accurate, but then we lowered the standards. Now people's expectations have gone down, and I mean, it's just a total mess. Came 10 years ago. They went through all my grades till I have a kid. You have a PhD? What's your PhD in? I was a kid. I kind of assumed it was a typo. Applied science AI. Well, AI is a good thing to have qualifications in now. I think did you say you were in New Brunswick? I thought I saw you say before. If so, are there jobs there for a lot of AI stuff? Can you explain this game you're working on? Sure. Let me see. Frame ID. Okay. All right, let's compile it again. So the game is it runs in the Linux terminal. It's a game where you simulate the process of mining blocks. So you roam around an infinite procedurally generated universe. You spam the M key, and then you mine the blocks, and they show up in your inventory. And you can press the C key to craft a mining pick, and now you can mine out to a larger radius. And that's the extent of the game. That's the entire game loop that's implemented. And so right now I'm working on improvements to the user interface. So you can press escape right now and open a help menu, and then you can close it. But there's some bugs and stuff with adding like frames and user interface stuff. Nope, got a job before my MS graduation, but my job contract ended in September. Looking for 1 year Canada-wide. Looking for 1 year Canada-wide. So you have been looking for 1 year? You've been unemployed for a year? I know there's a lot of people in that boat. I know someone who's employed, but they've been thinking about leaving, and it's been like 2 years now. They've been trying to find another job, a better job to go to. Cool. Or you're just kind of making up a skill, or there are specific plans for certain features you want to implement. I actually have a couple videos about the game. If you search my channel for like terminal block game, I think there's a couple. There's an older one that's kind of just me like rambling a bit and playing the game and talking about ambitions and how it works internally. And then I have another more recent one that's a bit more polished and that shows some of the latest features and abilities. Job, I have a searching job for my contract ended September. I guess I still. Oh, my contract end is okay. So you have a contract that's ending in September. All right. So this destroy. Too much typo. I'm tired. No worries. Risley Bear. Interesting. I don't know what that statement means. All right, no crash. I saw your video on Canadian immigration. I wanted to say it was extremely well articulated and well formatted take video. That's good. I've gotten I guess I kind of expected I would get maybe a couple more people that didn't like the video, or like people that rant about it or something. But I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about it. Although the video, I'm kind of disappointed. The views seem to be kind of leveling off. It's not getting. It doesn't seem to be going as wide and getting as many views. But I mean, hopefully. It's got like 50,000 views, so hopefully at least one person in the government watched it and will improve the state of things. If you finish your game, I'll make a reinforcement learning. I'll go to play it. Excellent. Are you using a port binding of Ncris's library for Java? No, I'm not using. Honestly, I'm not actually using a lot of sophisticated terminal stuff. I have thought about using calling out to Ncris's library. So I do have a JNI library that I've written to attach to some signal handlers and stuff. So I may extend that out and add more API calls for. I could do like mouse support and stuff like that, optionally, but not at this time. How to type this fast? Do I type fast? I don't even think I type that fast. Okay, so that cleaned up some of the thread creating functions. Don't look at the keyboard. That's a huge boost. Yep, learned a long time ago. I think from playing Age of Empires. Don't you get bored while doing this? That's work. I could play a game, but thousands of people are playing video games, so I'm gonna make something. Working on my research after my job. Now I'm looking at somebody working. Yep. That's how the internet goes. But you can like turn your brain off and you don't have to do anything. I guess when you're interested in it, I've noticed on like cable TV and stuff, there's a lot more shows on like cable TV where it's like a reality show of someone working, like some job, like a construction job or something, which you would think is boring, but they like over dramatize it, and they're like, oh man, the construction material fell over, the truck flipped over, and it's I guess, I don't know, it's familiar to people, reminds people of their daily lives, makes them feel represented. Do you watch anime or movies? I do not watch any movies, and I have never watched an anime. Although I think back in like 2016 or something, I watched I think it's called One Punch Man, or something. What do you do in your free time? I don't have free time, really. I guess that's kind of a lie in that, I mean, when I wake up, I check the news and some stuff. I'd say that the time that I waste, I maybe watch a few too many like random YouTube videos that I probably don't need to watch about like whatever news or political stuff is going on in the world. Try solo leveling. I'm curious, how does the drawing of ASCII characters in terminal actually work in your implementation? So there's ANSI escape sequences you can output to move to a given position. They're not too complicated. So in the thread that I'm working on now, so the graphics are emoji characters, and so this function is one of the there's a bunch of functions that draw a word, or I have a bunch of line printing primitives and stuff like that, but everything gets compiled or basically filters down to this function. So prepare terminal text change. It looks kind of crazy, but it's because you can update regions of the screen. So you specify an area of a screen, like a square area, and this thing just iterates through that, does some stuff to check has it changed. So has the text changed? Or actually, no, that's just checking if it's in the bounds there. It checks if the character is different, if the color codes are different. And then if it is, it updates basically the thing that's supposed to be on the screen. It's like a screen buffer, basically. And I also added recently an index too, so I can print so with the help menu, when I press escape, that's in a different layer, and then when it actually flushes the buffer, it just checks to see what's in the highest layer. Yeah, and it keeps track of whether things have changed. So, if I'm moving through if there's a bunch of blocks of say a big area up here with a bunch of rocks, it's only around the boundary of that you actually need to change. You actually need to print something to give the illusion of motion. So for every frame, it basically just calculates what is the minimum number of things, what is the minimum number of screen prints that need to be sent to the terminal. So it's actually relatively fast. What is the initial state of the game? I guess I can show you. So if you so the game world is stored in a SQLite file. So now I can just run the game. Are you worried about change tracking desync? That is when there's when there's some kind of bug that causes it to get out of sync, the way the screen will look completely incomprehensible and messed up. So the debugging those issues is can be difficult. So as long as that doesn't happen, then yeah. So this is the initial state of the game. How to exit Vim? I'm not sure. That's a difficult problem to solve. I haven't been able to solve that yet. Will you be making more content on YouTube? Yes, I'm making content as fast as I can. Lately, I've been doing the live streaming daily. For the next little while, I'll probably focus on shorter form content. So I filmed. I'm working on a new short video. I've been filming the last couple of days. I filmed just before I streamed, and then I'm going to film again after the stream ends. Always the same, no seed. Right now, the seed is just fixed, but that could be an option to randomize the seed. I think I just have the seed is just like 1 or something, but it does. It would be absolutely possible to just add a parameter. In fact, that's probably a good thing to add to the to-do list. So you could have an extra parameter on the command line to specify a different seed value. If it works, leave it as is. MySQLite, why not? A JSON file, for example. Well, a JSON file that's a flat file, but that's not a database. So SQLite is SQLite's a file format, but it's also a database. So I can do like complex queries and stuff with a relational database. So complex queries and stuff that I will work. Whereas with JSON, I'd have to deserialize it, traverse the object, and it'd be kind of a nightmare. SQLite is lightweight database. Yep. Mainly used in mobile. Like your contacts. I'm not sure what you mean by contacts, but thank you. What is this, bro? This is a terminal-based block mining game. So it's a game you play in the Linux terminal. You wander around an infinite universe, and you spam the M key to mine blocks. SQLite is my favorite database. I'm new. Well, soon you'll be well acquainted with the terminal-based block mining game. Prefer NoSQL? I'm not a huge fan. For me, it's relational or nothing. Okay, that works. So I'm funny? Excellent. That means I'm entertaining, and everyone will watch my streams and like the stream and donate to my World Domination Fund. I'm the only one liking your humor? Well, I think the other guy likes it too, unless he's being sarcastic. You could do NoSQL and SQLite? Oh, okay. Just blob key. Oh yeah, I guess. NoSQL is messy. Yeah, and the other thing is every NoSQL engine I've learned about is the semantics for like consistency of the data. Like they don't like transactions and stuff. They don't seem to place a high value on like data integrity. .. is my favorite Linux command. The next GTA is Terminal by RE Software. No fancy 1590 needed. Yeah, once I get the contract for it, it's only a matter of time. I like how he says my. I had to kind of practice it a bit. If you check some of the earlier favorite Linux command ones, they're kind of like they came across as a bit more like spooky than I wanted. I did the intros like I think I was working on something else at the time, and I did a lot of the intros at like when I was super tired at like 2:30 a.m. And I did them all at once, and I actually hadn't really experimented much, so I tried like on like one side and the other side, and I tried a whole bunch of different colors, so I was kind of exhausted. But then I had to practice the intro a bit. Sounds based. Better than spending $100. And you can mod it. No. FOSS is the best source, but my game isn't FOSS though. It's just source available. Dude, what are you building? I'm working on a terminal-based block mining game. It's a terminal-based game where you simulate the process of mining blocks by spamming the M key. Have you picked a SQLite application ID for the save files? I've not. I'm not even. I don't even know what that is actually. I guess that's maybe something I should research. Sounds good. Pure energy though. Good luck, pal. Thank you. It's a field in DB header, unused by SQLite itself for the file, type ID purposes, settable, gettable, field pragma. But what are the advantages of it? Have you tried NeoVim? A bunch of people recommended it to me, but I have not. I opened NeoVim, and it's on my to-do list to learn how to work with it. I have apparently it can work with a language server, so that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of interested in learning a bit about it, but I just haven't had the bandwidth to look into getting that set up. No advantages in a vacuum, but if your game blows up and your application ID is added to the file tool, it'll show saves as your game save files instead of generic SQLite. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll make a note of that. I tend to forget a lot of the things. I tend to even like forget that I write down things during stream. Yep, there's a LSP module and stuff. You can make it look like an IDE. Yeah, if I can get that working well, then that would be great. You should make it terminal-based RTS. If I can get it, I think if the basic like block thing can work, and I can actually get I mean, the first biggest thing is getting the user interface a bit improved, because if you can't see anything, then that kind of defeats the whole purpose. But once I have this frame issue figured out, then I'll work on some server state stuff, and then the game could be adapted to be basically anything. Oh, hey, he's doing live now. Yep, I'm in between projects, so for the last little while I've been doing live streams every day. What would you say has changed the most about programming in the past 20 years? You know, it's kind of hard to say. When I first started, like, I was a total noob and I didn't know anything. Because also I have changed a lot in the last 20 years. It's much more easy to get information. And part of that's just because like I know how to look for it. But like I remember when I first started, you know, when I was quite young, I wanted to learn C++, so I downloaded a C++ like compiler tool for like Windows, and I double clicked on it and it would just like open a window and go away. And I didn't know at the time. I probably had to like go onto the command line, open it from there, and that would be how I would actually use it. And because of that, because I just downloaded it, I thought it didn't work. I just like completely didn't learn C++ back then. I started learning a QBasic because it actually had an interface. But if I had like known to Google it, that would have been different. So ubiquity of like information about stuff. And then also there's so many more like frameworks and stuff, and the pace of new things. Like I have people come into chat all the time and like, hey, why don't you use this new technology? And it's some technology that came out like 2 months ago. And I know by the time I learn it, people won't use it anymore. What are you doing? I'm writing code for a terminal-based block mining simulation game. Here's my NeoVim config if You're trying to get into just key bindings. It's something I probably won't look into it for a little bit, but eventually, once I get some spare time, I will probably look into NeoVim a bit more. What about OpenGL and Vulkan? I know of OpenGL. I've never used OpenGL. I'm not opposed to it. I think one of the ideal visions for this game would be a game where you can basically connect to the game world via command line, but also you could also have like other clients for the game, where you can connect to the game world with like a 3D interface, just like any other kind of 3D graphics game. What do you think about LLMs, ChatGPT, in the education system? They are going there. It's like an earth-shifting moment. I haven't been teaching in a while. Well, in my immigration video, I talked a lot about plagiarism and stuff like that, and I deliberately left out the AI thing because you could say so much about that, and I have absolutely no idea. Like it was hard to detect plagiarism before, and now it's going to be like I don't know. I'm kind of waiting. I would actually just trust what people are saying right now, like what our professors saying right now. I think from what I understand, a lot of them just assume that everyone is cheating all the time. It's like the default thing now. I mean, the education system may have to change completely. I had this idea for an IDE with the TY and GY front end, but then I found there wasn't a good TY library that was retained, so I had to drop it. Yeah, there's one I've heard about off and on a few times called not curses, I think. I haven't looked into it too much, but it's an interesting. It boasts some interesting capabilities. What's that? So I'm working on a terminal-based game where you simulate the process of mining blocks on the Linux terminal. ChatGPT also provides a free license to students. They know what they're doing. Yeah, it's I mean, it's difficult to state how that's going to completely change the education industry. Maybe not for the better. They're building dumb gen at the whole. Dumbgen at the whole eternity with AI. Feedback I get on assignments is often flagged for AI. The feedback from teachers themselves. Yeah, I mean, that's another end of it. It's like being falsely accused of plagiarism with AI. And the fact that like so many of these professors are clueless about AI. So they're like paranoid. They're suspecting everything has AI in it now. I remember I remember hearing that at when ChatGPT first came out. There was a couple of professors just went crazy, and they kept like they would take an essay and copy and paste it into ChatGPT and be like, "Did you write this, ChatGPT?" And then ChatGPT's like, "Yes, I wrote this." But it's ChatGPT, so it lies about everything. Do you want to try learning something new with it and document your experience? I eventually, if I get around to it, I might do some videos with AI, but it's on the to-do list. Their goal is to make future generations fully dependent on large language models. I'm sure they would like that, but at the same time, it's a technology, and like people will, if the technology exists, people will just use it, or someone else will invent it and make it available. I think there is a way to learn with them. A future of ChatGPT engineers will make me the best engineer. Yeah, people keep telling me to use AI. I tried using Copilot a couple of days ago, and I enabled it in my account, and then I couldn't use it because it was full of JavaScript errors. Like the user interface was broken, and then the next day it miraculously started working again. So I tried it. I asked it some basic stuff about like stuff in my code about like how would I implement this through the GitHub UI, and I find every time I actually try to use it for something like sophisticated, it just like it gives me answers that are not wrong, but they're really like milquetoast. It's like a very general statement. It's just like I'll ask it, and it's like this. It kind of reminds me of like the Google AI summaries where it kind of gets the general gist, but it's like, this doesn't help me. Either you adapt with the system now, or you get left off and can't blame AI. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. You just have to rewrite it and charge for it. I mentioned Helix editor a few times to you. Oh yes, I remember you mentioning it now, but I forget it. There's too many other. I guess when I'm working on other stuff throughout the day, I don't even think about what I'm doing during stream at all. Or it seems like you are very used to using Vim. You should switch to NeoVim without a config. It's actually just Vim refactored. Yeah, maybe I'll enter to the to-do list. There's no way to know if someone is cheating. Use basic similarity metrics. Exactly. Once you hit a complexity level, it doesn't work. That's what so many students and juniors don't understand. Yeah, I think it will get better though. I think probably it's a lot of the AI is probably data limited, which I mean, in the future, I assume Google is probably going to start using like the data in all the YouTube videos and stuff, like everything we're talking about in this session, like, reading the screen, and like there's a lot of deep insights there on if you just mine everything on YouTube. You can definitely can detect if someone is cheating, but it will cost time and effort. I don't think so. I mean, there's a significant amount of like it's just a sequence of tokens. So theoretically, like there's some probability that a person could write the sequence of tokens that is exactly matches something that an AI would open. Brother, are you married? I am not married. Out of context question. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to switch to Viva oral tests. Yeah, I've heard in California too, there's some weird like scam with fake students, where there's like an exponentially increasing number of fake students that like are distant. They're like remote students that never show up. Sure, it's not that bad. How do you live alone? It's very lonely. Do you believe in God? You just do it. You do what you do. There's no other choice. If plagiarism check are positive, can't just accuse them as cheater in face value. Interrogate, interview a bit subject matter after plagiarism flag would suffice for detecting if they did the work. Yeah, I think the only reasonable way to use it is to like actually give like use it as a flag to then go and investigate more. But because honestly, like that's like students are kind of always on the verge of mental breakdown in the first place. So to like have someone work a whole bunch on an assignment and then give them 0 and then like punish them, like if you're going to give them 0 in the assignment, it either is plagiarism or it's not. So either you give them 0 and you punish them, or you don't, like you assume it's actually valid work. You can't really be like, I 50% think you cheated, so we'll just like arbitrarily dock marks. Like that's a very unprofessional. You can't do that. So yeah, it's a difficult thing, and some professors just don't really care. Just install NeoVim, Symlink Vim and Bash, then slowly configure if need be. Don't listen to those racers. You could be a 1.2x developer. I have to actually learn to like set up the language server and stuff. That's the thing that's actually gonna win me something. I already installed it on my other computer, and I opened it and looked at it, and on the surface it looks just like Vim, but I need to actually use it a lot more to say for sure. Doesn't NVim already symlink to Vim to NeoVim? Yeah, I could do that too. I could symlink it and stuff, but it's just not. It's not a. There's a trade-off between like actually producing work and constantly chasing. Like if I actually tried all the things that people come into chat and recommend to me, I would never get work done. The extra N is a waste of five extra calories per day. NV better than Vim. I thought I implemented that already. %, cheated. By the way, in my university, they allow you to do grade protest. In a way, if your assignment test gets zeroed, you can file a protest form for their for further investigation. Yeah, it's I guess it all depends how much work that is and how often this comes up. When I grow up, I hope to get 1.2x dev level. One can only hope. Actually, a fair and efficient method for clarifying a cheater. Are you a MGTOW? You work in a multinational company. Okay, bye. See you later. The thing if you are a professor and someone said somebody cheated, they didn't, you're in big trouble. Well, the thing is, it kind of depends. I think in practice, depending on where you're a professor, certainly a student might get pretty angry, but I think professors, in practice, professors probably can get away with a lot of stuff that they probably shouldn't. Just usually there is some process. There's an appeal process, but I'll give you my anecdotes. So I marked a lot of assignments and exams, and I am 100% sure, I know because some students came to me. There were certain questions where sometimes I would mark stuff wrong, and I made a mistake in my marking. My marking was not good, and I always would preface things to students saying hey, I didn't. I marked these. I marked a lot of assignments. I make mistakes sometimes. If you think that I marked something wrong when it was actually right, definitely come see me about it. And I find a lot of times when you hand back an assignment to students just accept whatever grade, and they very rarely, some students, that's their entire identity is arguing everything, but most students just kind of accept whatever their fate is. And I think a lot of students probably wouldn't push back. They might say hey, this is not fair. And then if the professor is really aggressive about it, it's just no, you cheated. A lot of students would be too intimidated, and probably wouldn't push back that hard. And I know there's a lot of stuff that, depending on the institution, there's a lot of stuff that slips through the cracks, which is not. It's not really because it's a corrupt boys club or something like that. It's more so that at the level of the chair, when you think about how many students go to a school, it's tens of thousands of students, and if you're a department chair or something, there might be 6,000 students under you. And when you think about how many random just weird exception cases, a student was in a car crash and they missed the exam because of something, so now there's you got to create some exception case, and then someone has to talk to the dean or the chair or whatever and be hey, what do we do in this case? And then they have to think about oh, well, what does the policy say? And then they have to go through thousands of lines of documentation to figure out how to deal with all these edge cases. And it's the edge cases that actually take so much time. YT chat slow for typing. Currently are facing an error or just an update. I'm not sure. We're debating. Meanwhile, you just want to dominate the world. There was a good meme I saw a while back. How to spot 0.5x dev. Old ThinkPad plus Arch plus NeoVim. Remember Turnitin? I'm not sure actually. I never actually had anything flagged for plagiarism. AOL Instant Messenger on the desktop. Probably a 0.5x dev. Doing cheating is not bad until you get caught. I don't know about that. I would say it's bad. Right, that looks like it worked. So that change might allow me to delete a whole bunch of code. Turnitin was a whole plagiarism checker. Results in tons of false positives. How do you focus in this world of exception? How do you focus in this world of exception? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Why did you left teaching job? It's too time consuming. Does not. If you watch my immigration video, there's all the details of what it was like to teach and the nonsense there. That's there's like an hour-long video on my channel about the my teaching experiences. It's about immigration. Choke slammed a kid for bad code, most likely. That's not what you do when someone plagiarizes. What's your GitHub name? I would check this later, if open source. There's a link to the GitHub in the description. On that note, it's past midnight, and I gotta film a little bit more video. So I think we will call it a successful stream. So have a good night, guys.